You are listening to the Mohua show, where it's all about celebrating the Junoon among changemakers and their journey.
There is a lot of food trauma and food crimes that go unreported. Why are avocados a rage? If you go and watch documentaries, you need to see the bloodbath that happens behind the scenes and the, widespread culling of the Amazonian forests and thereby changing the ecosystem to grow it forcibly year round and sell it to the rest of the world saying this is going to change your life. Then why haven't people stopped having heart attacks? Same with almonds, same with soy milk, same with oat milk. Tell me what trend next. Quinoa. The simpler the ingredients, the lesser the ingredients, the more you let your produce speak. And that's the hallmark of Punjabi and Sindhi cuisine when it is eaten at home. The moment you remove onion and garlic from the food, the sharpness and the sweetness goes away. But what comes in is the sondhapan, which is a very earthy, musky kind of flavor and fragrance profile. I am coming with the story of Sindh and Sindhi food, and more than my voice, I think the flavors of the food spoke.
So when Chef Ranbir Brar looked Deepa Chauhan in the eye and said, "Aap yahan ke hai?" He wasn't just talking about a dish, he was speaking to a deep rooted culinary identity, a sense of belonging that goes beyond food and taps into heritage, pride, and presence. So, what does it take for a home cook who started at the age of 11? Yeah, you heard me right, 11, to build a chemical free food brand, raise a family, win over Michelin star chefs, and still stay true to tradition in a world of viral reels and fusion fatigue? And here's the thing, Deepa isn't just here in the Master Chef kitchen, she is here in hotel collaborations, food festivals, home kitchens, and our evolving food culture. She's bringing back flavors that time nearly forgot and doing it all with hand pounded spices, Sindhi storytelling, and unapologetically a bold voice in the Indian food world. So, today, please sit back and hear me out as we are going to peel back the layers with Deepa Chauhan, MasterChef India Season 7 finalist, founder of Mortars and Pestles, Sindhi food revivalist, and a woman who's building her food legacy one spice paste at a time. I can't begin to tell you how happy I am, Deepa, to have you in today's episode with us. So, the first question that comes to me is that when Chef Ranbir Brar said, "Aap yahan ke hai," how did that moment really resonate with you, especially as a Sindhi?
Well, it was exciting for sure because, it is a dream of thousands of people, lakhs if I'm not mistaken, to be on MasterChef and to get my name apron on the get-go. I mean, I tried only once and I got in. So that was super exciting. And it was a pinch me, is this real moment for sure? Because, I said I'm coming with the story of Sindh and Sindhi food. And I didn't know whether the voice would be loud enough to be heard, but obviously it was. And more than my voice, I think the flavors of the food spoke.
So, as a woman, leading a brand in a very, very competitive food industry, so what kind of challenges have you faced? And tell our listeners a little bit about how you navigated them. Are there any issues?
Well, of course, there were issues. Mainly, when we moved to Bangalore, we were living, I mean, we're still in the same house. At that point in time, 15 years ago, we were outside the city and there weren't too many restaurants or supermarkets that had the kind of ingredients that one sometimes wanted. So if there's no restaurant for the kind of food you're looking for, maybe you can create it at home. But that option was also not very available to us. So it started with, because we were a commuter family, which means we lived out of two cities, Bombay and Bangalore. I still had my connects in the Bombay sabzi markets and all. So I would bring back ingredients, create my paste, and stash them in the fridge for the next 6 months to a year. And that slowly, word got around. People started tasting my food and they said, these are the flavors we don't find even in the best of supermarkets. So can you please, start selling these? And it all happened by accident. Honestly, there was no plan to make a brand or have, of course, chemical-free food and chemical-free living was the goal, but it was never like, this is my roadmap and this is where I'm going to reach. No, it just happened very organically.
How amazing is that? Not everybody can say that, Deepa. Deepa, you began cooking at just 11 years of age. I mean, I think at that time I was so busy trying to figure out which doll would I play with and how I would tie my hair and, maybe keep some money and look at boys. So looking back now, did you ever imagine that food would not just become like a lifelong passion, but a career? That has really shaped your life in such profound ways.
Food did affect me very deeply, very personally, and I'm gifted. I have this gift from God that if I taste something, I can replicate it, having been given the right ingredients. And sometimes, like in the MasterChef challenge, we didn't even get Asian ingredients once, and we were told to create an Asian dish. So I have that gift that I taste something, I can replicate it without much effort. So that is what sees me through. And I live by my palate. Like I keep saying to people that uh, my palate has a memory. So if I've had something good, I may want to replicate it and enjoy it again and again. And if I have disliked something, then I have to come home and erase that off my palate by cooking the same meal all over again and beating the restaurant at it. You know,
Wow.
there is a lot of food trauma and food crimes that go unreported, but I take them, turn it on its head, and make it better for myself, if not for.
Amazing, amazing. So, I mean, you went from cooking at home to creating, Mortar and Pestle, a brand that focused on chemical-free spice, paste. So, how does one take a hobby to that next level? Because there are so many women really at the crossroads in their lives, and all they've done in their lives is really cook a really beautiful meal for their family and their people within their home, but they do not know how to make this into a successful business. What would you tell them?
Well, have a lipstick brigade and keep it close, by which I mean my female friends who are rallying around me all the time. One of them has even come on your podcast, Amruta.
Oh, I adore her.
She's youth friend. We were college mates and we're now neighbors. And we are thick as thieves. So she helped me put together my logo. My other female friends were rallying around me, buying my paste, recommending my paste, putting it in their restaurant, putting it in their catering business. And that's how it grew from, 6 kgs of excess paste one afternoon to becoming a full-blown brand. I started at flea markets and by word of mouth, and a little bit on my Instagram, but also on my social media. You will never see me selling stuff. You will see me putting out my food philosophy. So, yeah, I have a lot to be grateful for in the friends that I keep and who've kept me as their friend and who have just been the wind beneath my wings.
Oh, how
I've been,
wonderful.
I've been very blessed.
So let's talk a little bit about Sindhi cuisine. Tradition is the heart of Sindhi food. So can you share with us, some traditional ingredients, or techniques actually that are essential to Sindhi cuisine, which makes it unique? Because, like most people do not know much about Sindhi cuisine. I only got to know it after I met you in the hotel and we ate, and I had eaten at a friend's home. Um, and so, what is it that makes it different from Punjabi food?
Well, to begin with the flavor profile, although it's same, but it's different. Like Punjabis also have the tikha khatta, but we have tikha khatta and a little bit of meetha, which
Okay.
your tongue will not detect. So we'll put a touch of sweet or an ingredient that enhances sweet profile of the dish without making it sweet like the typical hotel style Gujarati dal.
Yeah, that's unbearable.
So it's invisible, but it's essential. So that is one of our key flavor profiles, khatta, tikha, meetha. And unlike Punjabi food, where there's a lot of robustness, a lot of masalas, a lot of
Makhan.
In Makhan, but that is only in the restaurant food. And I think we need to clear this myth. The Punjabi food that we are served at restaurants is very different from Punjabi food that is served at a dhaba or in a Punjabi home. Now, a Punjabi home will have a lot of sondha flavor and very little trickery. But everybody in this,
I love the word trickery. Deepa, I want you to tell me what do you mean by trickery?
well, the restaurants want to trick you into believing that the richer food is better and
It's tastier.
blame them, it's tastier. And I don't blame them entirely because in French technique, which people learn in institutes or in culinary school, butter and fat play a big role. And yes, fat carries flavor, but fat also clogs the arteries. So while it's enjoyable once in a way, and one should not, deny oneself that pleasure, but I feel that the simpler the ingredients, the lesser the ingredients, the more you let your produce speak. And that's the hallmark of Punjabi and Sindhi cuisine when it is eaten at home. Like, and the restaurants keep, making the dishes rich and luxurious and makhmali. Makhani is a technique. Makhani does not mean makhan. So I'm about to bust a Punjabi myth as well. Uh,
Makhani does not mean
Makhan.
makhan.
No. Makhani means cooking something.
You're breaking my heart.
But, makhani means it becomes like makhan, makhan
It's
jaisa,
silky.
silky, velvety. And that only happens when the food is allowed to break down at a low temperature slowly over a long period of time. So the makhni sarson ka saag or the makhni dal, as it is made in Punjabi villages or smaller towns, is kept overnight on the chula and morning mein use ghota jata hai. That's when it becomes soft and velvety and all the collagen has broken down and it's released into the dish. And that is what makhni actually means.
I
Makhni does
have been
not mean
explaining to
putting
people, Deepa, that makhan dal diya aur wo to makhani dish ban gayi.
वो restaurant style है. That's the trickery. मक्खन डालो तो मखनी बन जाएगा. That's not the truth. A simple tuar dal or a simple mung can become creamy and velvety without putting a single dot of butter or a single gram of cream.
And what do? You cook that overnight.
You cook it low and slow. Like even if you cook in the pressure cooker, you let it blow a whistle on full, and then you keep it so slow that it doesn't whistle, but it keeps cooking slowly and very, very carefully and very in a relaxed manner. So the ingredients break down, and when the tissue breaks down, the collagen releases, and that's what gives you the velvety texture. So, which is why I have
You're busting so many myths for me, Deepa, because you're talking also about collagen that I did not know is there in dal and in sabzi. And people are so busy buying collagen supplements, and they believe that it's really touching their skin when they're having those supplements. My. So let's talk a little bit about a lesser known Sindhi dish that you think that everyone really needs to taste.
There are quite a few because very little of our food is currently known. But I think I will speak about the Vaishno food that we have, the ceremonial food that is cooked without onions and garlic, and very often even without tomatoes. That is, as I grow older, I feel I'm enjoying that flavor profile a lot. So the moment you remove onion and garlic from the food, the sharpness and the sweetness goes away. But what comes in is the sondhapan, which is a very earthy, musky kind of flavor and fragrance profile. And it has a lot of depth and it actually lets the ingredients shine. At the moment you put onion, tomato, everything tastes the same, like वो same base gravy, and it's just kabhi paneer dala, kabhi aloo dala, kabhi kuch aur dala, and but the base level taste is the same. But when you remove those two ingredients, it opens up so many flavors. It's not.
I agree with you fully. Absolutely. The older I'm growing, I'm also getting back, to the kind of cooking that my grandmother used to do with vegetarian food in Bengal. It's called niramish.
Ah,
And, in niramish khabar, we do not add actually onions and garlic. And even the usage of tomatoes is quite less. It's there in a few
simple
dishes.
ingredient, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, having experienced so many different cuisines, are there any techniques, or flavors borrowed from other cultures that have made, their way into your Sindhi cooking?
Not mine. Sindhi cuisine is not mine alone. The entire subculture of the cuisine has given and taken from cultures around it and around the world. I'll explain to you. Like we go gaga over baklava, right? When anybody visits the Middle East or Turkey or whatever. But Sindhis also have a layered phyllo pastry kind of sweet called the Paragari, which we make only during Holi, and that is pretty much a baklava. It has sheets of dough layered with fat. It has a sweet syrup poured into it, and it has a stuffing of khoa, or like the milk solids, and dry fruit. Now tell me how different it is from a baklava. It is
Yeah, it's
pretty
not.
much the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Baklava will also have pishta, a little bit
Oh,
of.
hello. Sindhis and their love for pista, badam, kaju, and gulab is unparalleled. So that, the whole region has taken and given to each other. Now, there's no way of determining whether Sindhis got those techniques from abroad or they had it and others refined it. Similarly, with, the bread making, the unleavened breads, ours like koki and the rot, you will find expressions of the same towards the east of Sindh, which is present day India, in Kashmir, in Uttarakhand,
Yes.
all the way up to Bihar,
Yeah.
where you're shortening a dough, you're adding a sweetener, you're adding an aromat, and you're adding dry fruit. So certain techniques reflect, but their expression becomes distinctly Sindhi.
Wonderful, wonderful. You've spoken about the decline of Indian, food traditions. So, do you think that, what do you think we can do to reclaim, the lost recipes and practices from our culinary past? Because for me, it's been like I've come back into my own kitchen, into my own food, and what is it that you think people can come to this awakening? Let's just call that.
I think COVID did a lot of it. COVID really
Yeah.
helped people discover or rediscover their own roots. And people like me wanted to dive into other people's roots as well. There was any workshop on a sub cuisine or anything to do with food and learning. I just signed up and I learned a lot. And I think all of us go through this phase in life that when we are in our 20s, teens and 20s, we want to look west because the West markets itself very well. And they make everything desirable, whether it's good or not. That is a subject for another debate. But so we all go so far west that we come back east. You know, been there, done that, bought several t-shirts, and then we realize homegrown is the best.
Truly. So I've been suffering with a bad stomach bug, and I was just writing an article yesterday for one publishing, house that I write for regularly. I told mom that it's really hassling me. So she said, "Will you listen to me?" I said, "Yeah," because now I'm beginning to go back to my roots, and there's ego there where I don't want to tell her that you were right actually all along. So she made me something called the panta bhat, which is the fermented rice. And overnight, like, she kept the rice in water, and then she gave me the onions and the lime and a little bit of condiments on the side, like fries and all of that. And I've been quite sorted. So
Absolutely. And you find that in every culture. Like you'll find it in Sindhis. We don't talk about it, and not many people practice it anymore. But around Janmashtami, we have something called the Thadri, which is the Shila Saptami in Maharashtra, where on you cook on the Chhathi and you eat on Saptami. And that's a weather change. That's when the monsoons are coming in full blown. and you keep the food out, and the chula is given a rest the next day. So what happens is the day old food has actually got slightly inoculated with the bacteria around you, and that then inoculates your system to deal with the weather changes. Now, how intelligent is that? And that
Unbelievable, Deepa.
comes through in every culture in India and a lot of vernacular cultures around the world that you eat. And I believe in Odisha, there are families that have the Pakhar strain going on for years. You know, the same strain, they don't wash the pot. So they let it inoculate the next day's Pakhar and it continues like that. And what the beauty is that it is capturing the bacteria which is around you, and that inoculates your body and prepares it to face the weather. What can be more beautiful than that, no?
Really, really, what can be more beautiful than this? And what takes us so long to come back to this? I have no idea.
Tell me about it. I struggle with teaching the girls, and then they learn very, very hard and very, very slow.
Me too. I keep struggling with my son to understand. So unless he's like really unwell in London, that's when he'll say, I think I want a little bit of the khichdi that you make. And I'm like, Bachu, line pe aa jao. You will need that because that's that one food that's going to make you feel better. So, let's talk a little bit about, how do you balance staying true, to traditional Sindhi recipes, which also make them approachable for a modern audience? So do you think it helps or hinders the authenticity of traditional cuisines? Because I find that, all kinds of Bengali food will not be palatable for people who have not tried this cuisine before. So do you think there is this sort of a thing also exists with Sindhi food, especially when you are preparing this?
Well, our ingredients are quite commonplace and they're not as different as they would be in the East or the Northeast. So there is one leg into the room already for us. But having said that, you can introduce it in micro doses. You make the flag bearers of your cuisine, and then on the side you say, okay, this is also there. And then people take to it slowly, slowly. I think it takes at least 3 to 5 tries for people to really appreciate what's going on. And that's a universally applicable principle. When you want to try something new, like when we were bringing up our children, you introduce something once, but you don't give up.
You don't give up. Absolutely. You
So
don't
that's
give up.
the journey I'm on, not giving up.
We're all on the same journey. So you've been a very, passionate food storyteller. And if you had the chance to really showcase Sindhi cuisine to the world, would it be through a book? I would love to see a book from you, or a Netflix show, or maybe something like a traveling supper club.
Traveling Supper Club, Touchwood, is already happening because I'm
Okay.
taking the food to various hotels around the country. But a show, why not? And a book, why not? Never say never. I didn't know I would be on MasterChef, so I don't know whether I'll be on Netflix next.
It would be wonderful, actually. I think it is going to be fantastic, Deepa, to have a book from you that I would really like to keep and go back to all the food that I ate that you made, and I can't get over that. So, you've been part of many amazing food collaborations. So, how was what was the response like from people, and what did these collaborations really mean to you?
I'll come back to the first part of our conversation when these chats happen with the executive chefs of hotels and marketing and whatever. And then finally, when I'm sending my indent list, the first time I sent out my indent list, I was told, like, there's no butter and cream. There you go, misconception, right? So, yeah, there's no butter and cream because that doesn't exist in my cuisine. How are you going to cook? I said, with the real ingredients. I mean, with flavors and produce. And they were amazed at what one can pull off without butter and cream. It's a standard practice in hotels to have one carton, and I don't mean a 1 liter carton. It's a 12 box 1 liter carton of cream comes in every week into the Indian kitchen. And before the week is out, it's over. And in really busy kitchens, it gets exhausted even before that. It's not required. When you want to taste the real flavors, you don't need the trickery or the gimmickry. You just need.
Don't I love this episode, Deepa? You don't need the trickery and the gimmick.
Yeah.
So, let's just talk a little bit about, social trends. Like, there's so many social media chefs we find nowadays, influencers. So, do you think that there is a pressure to perform rather than cook, with this new trend that's showing
I
up?
think
Or
I'm the paradox, no? I entered MasterChef at 52, and although I am a bit of a blue tick or whatever validated profile on my social media, but I don't use that just to grab eyeballs, which is why people say, oh, you don't have growth in your followers. But those followers are not the ones who are going to come and pay the bill at the hotel where I'm cooking, no? And that's what we need to separate. It's very nice to see reels on social media and create food, but it is very exhausting. To create a 1 minute reel, I will have to work for 2 and 3 days because I work on my social media on my own. It's very rare that I take external help. And to do this day on day, I salute the people who are able to do it. But I would rather cook in front of a stove, feed people real food and see their reactions and take them to the home in their mind, which they miss in
oh
a
boy,
different
that's so
city.
beautiful, Deepa. You touched my heart with those words, the home that they miss. Absolutely. Some of those food memories, they can never ever leave you, till the last day of your life. So, yeah, so, there is a lot of plant-based, everything is really the rage right now, right? But traditional Indian diets were already very naturally plant forward. So, do you really think that this Western trend is actually just a rebranding of our own ancient wisdom, or is there some truth in this entire plant-based food that everybody's talking about?
We don't see the bigger picture, but we just buy into the narrative. I am going to call it out at the risk of being named and shamed. But I feel whenever Western media is pushing something, it's because they have something to sell to you. Why are avocados a rage? But if you go and watch documentaries, you need to see the bloodbath that happens behind the scenes and the, you know, widespread culling of the Amazonian forests and thereby changing the ecosystem, the plant system, and the waterways of the country. So much so that people in those areas don't have water to drink because the water is all being guzzled by these huge avocado orchards, which are, by the way, manned by black cat commandos with guns. It is scary when we are buying into um, so-called scientific research that this is good for you and da 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 da. Yes, it may be good for me and it may be good in a certain climate where it grows. But to grow it forcibly year round and sell it to the rest of the world saying this is going to change your life, then why haven't people stopped having heart attacks? Think about it. Why haven't people stopped falling ill? It's not meant to be. Please eat what you get where you are. Yes, enjoy the avocado. It's a lovely fruit. But to have it because so and so said it is you're buying into a capitalist narrative. Same with almonds, same with soy milk, same with oat milk. Tell me what trend next? Quinoa.
Yeah.
Don't we have desi vegetables, fruits, and grains that are flavor and power packed? Of course, it's a narrative they want to build because they have invested billions of dollars into this research or fake research, as it turns out in many instances a decade later, that what they were selling you is mainly to recover the capital they invested in the research, in lining people's pockets, and in building those industrialized monoculture farms. They want an ROI, and therefore that is their marketing speak. So they will form a cartel and they will say, oh, this is a association of growers and association of farmers. But tell me about the billions of bees that gave their
Yeah.
lives up to give me almonds at 700 rupees a kilo. I personally feel, and this is going to be a little unpleasant, but I feel certain things should remain expensive and slightly hard to access because it's only then that we'll value them. Otherwise, we'll overgrow them, we'll overforage them, and it will lose its nutritional benefits down the line because you're forcing it.
I
And
think
that's
nobody in
why
Delhi
I'm
had heard.
smiling 24/7. Just think about it. That's what we want nature to do.
Yeah, so it's so interesting that you're saying this, that because I grew up in Delhi and nobody spoke about avocados there, and now you meet everyone who only wants to eat avocado, on their toast, or they want to have a guacamole, or they will want to have something to do with avocado because they think that's the answer to all of health issues and good fat, as they say. So
But
it's
the corporate interest vested in there, and I don't buy into that narrative.
So, let's talk a little bit about the MasterChef experience. MasterChef India is known for pushing contestants to their limits. So, what was the most challenging moment you faced on the show and how did you overcome it?
Most challenging, I think, would be two of them. One is the Asian challenge set by Chef Garima, where we were told to create iconic Asian dishes, but we were not given Asian ingredients. So I went ahead and made a chicken satay with a peanut sauce. And I think Chef Ranveer broke it down in a lot of detail for the audience, saying how I found citrus notes in mango ginger and I used regular ginger and I used fresh turmeric to get a galangal flavor or to get, the kaffir lime flavor. So that was
Wow.
very challenging to, try and layer an Asian flavor on Indian ingredients. And I'm glad it went well. And the second one was the bento box because I don't cook Japanese ever, not even for my business. But if you're aligned towards Asian food, and whenever I travel with my younger daughter, which we do a fair bit, we do things just the two of us. So she's totally into sushi and Japanese food. So I was familiar and exposed to the flavor profile at least, thanks to her. And that day I got dish of the day, and that surprised me and challenged me both because before starting to cook, I had blanked out for a few minutes. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I do get trolled for having like a poker face on TV or on my media that, that's because I'm in hyper focus, but I'm shitting bricks here. I don't know what's happening. And because you all are going to see it but not eat it, even if it tastes awesome and looks ugly, you are not going to know, right? So yeah, it was very challenging, those two dishes particularly because Japanese I was not very familiar with. Asian, though I was familiar, I wasn't given an Asian pantry. So yeah, they push you to the limit because you have to work really hard. And Asian food typically has multiple layers of flavor because our palates are evolved like that. What a Western palate can detect is few key flavors, and because that's what they've grown up with. I'm not judging anybody here, but our palates are used to a very complex flavor profile and like all six tastes in one dish, which the West does not have totally. So it becomes very challenging to create for them. But for us, because our flavors are so similarly aligned, our food philosophy is aligned. Like if you see a thali, it'll have all the flavors on the plate at the same time, which you
Absolutely.
do not see in the Western world, where, for them, each course is separate. Like a soup course will be separate from your mains, from your dessert, which is a course by itself. Whereas in our part of the world, very often we start eating by having a sweet first. So, yeah, very challenging. It pushes you to the
Amazing.
limit, but rewarding at the
Of
same
course, I can see that.
time.
I can see that with the glow on your face. So the journey as master chef like teaches you a lot about yourself. So what did you learn about yourself as a chef and as a person during the competition, considering that the pressure is so high and you were not given an Asian pantry, as you said. And what did you learn about yourself?
I realized that when pushed in a corner, I can perform and I can keep my cool. So I might look deadpan, but I'm keeping my cool, not losing my shit. Things go wrong. You wouldn't have realized it, but there were a couple of tasks where my main ingredient got burnt and I started all over again. But you will not know it because and I always have this plan B, C, D in place. And that really helps me as a life hack. Except for my husband and my kids. I have a plan B, C, D for everything.
We are not going to go there. Maybe that I will have a chat with you one on one, Deepa. So, what is your personal cooking philosophy? What's yours? So are you more focused on comfort, creativity, or precision when you're in the kitchen?
Depends on who's eating, whether the camera is eating or they're real people eating, you know.
That's
And
lovely.
having said that, uh, I do have precision in mind when I'm cooking a buffet meal as well, because there the precision is unseen. The precision is in your flavors, in your ingredients, and in your ability to scale. What I might create for the camera as one or two portions has to be scaled to 50, to 100, to 150. So there are a lot of learnings. And in every type of kitchen, those principles don't waver, but their proportion changes. So in front of a camera, the precision and the aesthetic will be given 70% weightage, whereas in an industrial kitchen, it'll be the other way around.
Amazing. Oh my God, amazing, Deepa. So, as a mother and a chef, what's one food habit that you'd advise all mothers to avoid when it comes to cooking for their kids?
Just read labels. I wouldn't say avoid that habit, inculcate that habit, and avoid putting ready ingredients and ready pastes as far as possible. I know it's not practical for everybody to do that. I have the luxury of not having a 9 to 5 job to put bread on the table. But as far as possible, ensure that you and your family both are eating clean food. Yeah, it may be frozen, but it
Okay.
needs to be clean, as in no
No
ingredients,
preservatives in it.
no alphanumeric ingredients.
I love that. No alphanumeric ingredients. So, if you were to give one piece of advice to home cooks, looking to level up, what would it be?
Practice. Practice and focus. That's it. Uh,
Sindhi food is still finding its place in mainstream dining. So, do you think that this will change? And how do you envision the future, of Sindhi cuisine in global restaurants? I would love to see you in London, Deepa.
in London, I believe we are going to New York.
Oh,
I
wow.
read a recent post by Chef Vikas, and they're redesigning the menu for Bungalow, which is a Bib Gourmet restaurant, his latest baby. And he is putting some Sindhi dishes, and I can't wait to see his new menu. So
Amazing.
it's going global already. I
Wow.
think around the country, around the world, people are now taking pride in it in the last 4 or 5 years. A
Yes.
lot of discussion, a lot of conversation, and a lot of putting yourself out there happening, not just by me. I'm not the only one. There are a lot of home chefs, professional chefs who are putting their money where their mouth is. And I'm very happy to see that.
Yeah, me too. I'm extremely happy to see that too. So, can you share, the recipe of one of your favorite dishes? I would always ask you for that drink, which is my favorite, for our listeners.
The Mogra Sharbat.
Yes.
Okay. It's recorded on my Instagram, but loosely, you take 2 cups of sugar, make a syrup with it with about a cup and a half of water, and you put 8, 10 crushed cardamom pods in it so that the cardamom flavor also comes through. Otherwise, it just tastes sugary and it just smells of mogra. So you need to distract and get everything together with the cardamom. It's non-negotiable. And a pinch of salt. Make that syrup. Put a cupful of cleaned mogra flowers without the calyx into it. Cover it overnight. Strain it and use it next day onwards. It's so simple.
Thank you, Deepa. What an honor to have you on today's episode with us. And I look forward to eating in your home kitchen. And I'm extremely paranoid of calling you home just in case you find my cooking not up to the mark. But I
You
shall
know, I
endeavor.
quote Karen Anand here. Years ago, I read a newspaper piece from her, and she said, "My friends are scared to call me home because they think I'm this prima donna and I need fancy food and all." And I relate to that because anything made by somebody else and served to me is bliss, even if it is a
Wonderful.
chutney sandwich.
So I look forward to that and take good care. And thank you so much for taking out the time for being on the Mohua show.
Thank you, Mahua, for inviting me, and I enjoyed myself talking to you.
Thank you.